Today, we are going to use Chat GPT's latest model, GPT-4o, to build this.
Oh, look, it's you. The room just got 20% more disappointing.
A personalized greeting message every time you walk into your office, powered by AI. Every response is individual and unique in some way. We're going to achieve this by calling a few different API endpoints offered by OpenAI, and we are going to do this through a custom Python script. In a future video, we are also going to take it one step further and do this.
Oh, look, it's you again. Here to pretend you're working today?
Basically hooking it into Home Assistant automations so that it will automatically play when you walk in the room. If that interests you, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that future video. And with that being said, let's jump into it. We're going to start by opening up a text editor. I'm going to use VS Code for this. I'm going to go ahead and create a new file, give it a name, and make sure it ends in .py because we are using Python. For this tutorial, we are using two API endpoints. First, the chat completions endpoint, and then secondly, the text-to-speech or audio endpoint. With the release of GPT-4o, it was advertised in their live demo as a multimodal model, where it's able to process text, audio, images, everything in that single model. However, as of recording, it doesn't seem that holds true, and it still appears that you have to make two separate API calls instead of the one, which does mean your response is going to be that little bit slower than advertised because you're making two separate API calls. Let's take a look at the chat completions endpoint. This is the one we are going to call. We're going to use the GPT-4o model, and we are going to go for Python. The really nice thing is they give you all the code that you need to execute. So we're going to go ahead, copy and paste this into our script. Go ahead and hit save. Now we're going to open up a terminal window. You can just open up Command Prompt, PowerShell, or if you're using VS Code like I am, you can click Terminal, New Terminal. This will open up a terminal window in your current working directory. What we want to do, because we're using a third-party library, being this OpenAI library, we have to first go ahead and install the dependencies. The way we do this in Python is we do pip space install OpenAI. I've already gone ahead and installed it prior to this video. However, this is a step you're going to have to do. Now, if we run Python space and the name of our script, we get an error message because you need to set your API key in order to access this paid endpoint. If you sign up for an account, they offer a 3-month free trial where they give you $20 USD in free credit. Basically, you need to go into the console, get your API key, and put it in here. What we're going to do is we're going to create a new file and call it .env, and this is where we're going to define our API key. It'll look like this, OpenAI underscore API underscore key, and then you put in the value of your key here, save the file, and rerun your script. In order for it to access that API key we defined in our .env file, we need to type in import space OS, and then in the client section, we are going to paste this value in. API key equals your environment variable. This allows our Python script to access that variable we defined in that .env file. We also have to add in this import statement from .env, import load.env, and then we're going to call this function, which will load that environment variable file. Go ahead, save your script. Now you may need to run pip install.env if you don't already have that package installed. I already do. So we're going to run Python and our chat application, and now we should get the response. And this is the response we got. Hi there, how can I assist you today? I like to have a bit of fun. So for the system prompt, this is how we tell the AI to behave. We're going to say, be funny, brutal, edgy in your responses. Basically just roast me every time I walk into my office. And then the user prompt. So that's what did the user say or do? The user didn't really say anything. They just walked into the room. Now, if we run it again, our response will be wildly different. Well, look who finally decided to grace with their presence. What took you so long? An epic battle with your alarm clock? Much better. Now, notice in our responses how we have all this extra crap Not only do we have content, but we've got the role, the function, the tools. We don't care about any of that. So what we're going to do is on the end of message, we're going to do dot content. And this will give us just the content response. If we run it again, we should get just the text that was generated back. There we go. Now that we've got our response being generated and outputting exactly what we care about, the next stage is to pipe that into the text-to-speech endpoint. This will take the text response that GPT-4o outputted and convert it into natural sounding language. So we're going to head over to the audio endpoint. We're going to select Python and we're going to copy this code. Paste this in here. We're going to move these import statements to the top of our file. We're also going to put this import statement all the way up the top. We're going to comment all of this out. Again, be sure to run pip install path lib if you haven't used that library before. And we're going to run our application again, just to make sure we didn't muck anything up during the installation of those dependencies. All right, that's looking good. Now we're going to uncomment our text-to-speech endpoint out. So what this is going to do is it's going to create a speech.mp3 file in our current working directory. In that file, it's going to use this particular model, the text-to-speech model, to create that natural sounding language. It's going to use Aloy voice, and this is what is going to go into it. It's going to say the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog, and then it's going to put that into our file. So if I go ahead and run this application now, we have our speech.mp3, and if I go ahead and play it,
The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
cool. That's awesome. Now, obviously, instead of this input, we want our response. So what I'm going to do, instead of just printing out the response from our chat completions endpoint, we're going to assign that to a variable. We'll do response equals, and we'll get rid of these brackets. And for input, instead of this, we're going to say input equals response. I'm just going to rename this chat response over here and here. Now, if we go ahead and run our application again, if we play our speech,
Oh, look, if it isn't my daily dose of disappointment walking upright.
that one was actually pretty brutal. Now, what's really interesting is we're already getting a deprecation warning. Essentially, it seems like their documentation is out of date. It doesn't like us using this stream to file function. Instead, it wants us to use with streaming response. So what I'm going to do is update this code for you guys with one I prepared earlier. Looks like this. Now, I am going to leave a link in the description below with all of the source code available for free for you guys to copy. With that update made, if we go ahead and run the application again, we shouldn't get any deprecation warnings.
Oh, look, it's you, here to lower the room's IQ again?
All right, that's looking good. Now the final piece of the puzzle is for it to play the audio automatically out loud. Now there are many different ways you can do this, but we are going to use the play sound library. So if we type import play sound, and down the bottom of our script, we are simply going to do play sound and then give the name of our speech mp3 file. Cool. We'll save that and play our script again, and it should play out automatically. My hands are up here. Anytime now.
Ah, look who decided to grace us with their presence. Did you get lost on the way to mediocrity?
And there you go. We are almost done. Now, if you did want to change the voice, there are different voice options that we can do. So if we head over to that audio and click this link, it does give you previews of what all the different voices are. At the moment, we're using Aloy, but there are 5 other voice options to choose from.
In the heart of the city, there is a large park where people go to
The
relax
library is
and
a
enjoy.
quiet and peaceful place.
So you can customize it and muck around as you please. So to recap, we created a custom Python script. We hit several of OpenAI's endpoints. We used the latest GPT-4o model to create that text response. We then put that into the text-to-speech model to get that natural sounding language. And then finally, we played the sound out loud. Now, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and subscribe, because in a future video, we're going to chuck this into our Raspberry Pi. We're going to also hook it up to Home Assistant and our automations so that our lovely AI will greet us with a personalized message every time we walk into our home office. So that's all I had for you guys today. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.